Hi, my name is Bryce Newberger, and I'm the host of the Soul Ward. Our mission here at the Soul Ward is to spread awareness around mental health and mental health issues. The truth is that the COVID-19 pandemic has seen many of us lose loved ones, lose jobs. There's the economy struggling to recover. We've got now an issue going on with Russia. There's a very tense political environment. There's a lot going on, and it won't let up anytime soon. The truth is, before all of this happened, we also didn't do a good job around mental health awareness in our country over here in the West. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to call everyone to action. The website soulward.org that we've started has many resources to point people to the suicide prevention hotline, to their website, which has a chat if you don't feel like talking to anyone. It encourages people to go get therapy through resources like betterhelp.com or just to find a local therapist in your area. It also provides awareness around free applications like 7 Cups Online, which has a listener feature where if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, you can get someone on the line who you can just text to and vent to, and they're going to validate and listen to and help you with those concerns. We're also going to create our own resources around conversations and communities for mental health. But the biggest ask that we have is something that we can't quite do yet, and it's going to require action from you to get involved. Let me first explain just the necessity for such a thing. Right now, if you feel outside of your depth, if you have lost a loved one, lost your job, you're crippled by anxiety or fear, and you go to your local emergency room for help, especially if you're manifesting a panic attack, which feels like a heart attack, you just feel like something's wrong with you. They may observe you, or there's a very good chance you could be put on what's called a mandatory 72-hour hold, which means you're going to be transferred to a prison-like facility and intermingled with people of all sorts of mental health issues and disorders. I myself went to one of these when I was struggling with my wife walking out on me, a divorce. I was processing a loss of a loved one. One of my brother-in-laws died of COVID. My infant son developed type 1 diabetes. I got fired from my job. All these things hit me. And I turned to my doctor to get help with mental health, but there was a fumble of the ball between a prescription he had prescribed and the pharmacy. I went to the emergency room to see if they could help fill this prescription, and unfortunately I was placed on a mandatory 72-hour hold and found myself in such a facility where people were screaming that they were demon-possessed. People were saying they were God himself, and I felt endangered. I didn't feel safe. I felt more depressed, and by the time I finally saw a counselor or a therapist there, all of the focus was to make sure that I never, ever came back to that facility. And I thought, what if another loved one dies? What if I lose my job again? What if I lose all my money? What if I need a facility such as this to come cope and de-stress? And I felt more punished than I did helped. It was more of just a place to take everything away from me and make sure that I wasn't a danger to myself or others, and then to slap me on the wrist and make sure I never ever did that again. I felt ashamed. I felt punished. I felt hurt. As I got out, I looked into other facilities to see if maybe I could have turned to a better facility. Unfortunately, they are all much the same. I talked to other people in the community who had gone through a similar experience, and they all had the same testimonial. Some have even said that they would rather pull the trigger than ever go back to that place again. What I'd love to do at the Soul Ward, here's the call to action. I want to create a stopgap between those facilities and the street. Now, one way we do that already is by providing awareness of free apps you can turn to, so hopefully you don't find yourself in such a crisis. But if you do feel that, if someone does feel that they are at such a crisis, I'm going to be working with local nonprofits and ministry leaders and other organizations to set aside a counseling-like office, a little place called a Soul Ward. Now, many churches have a counseling office, which is already perfect for this. Other nonprofits have counseling centers that are already perfect for this. And I'm not asking them to reserve that for the Soul Ward 24/7 and to lose all that space. All I'm saying is that when someone reaches out to the Soul Ward and they feel like they are in a crisis, a member of the Soul Ward, someone such as myself or anyone who works for me, can reach out to the local community that person is in, and they can find one of those rooms available, much like scheduling a conference room in a big corporation, except it's going to be across multiple churches in multiple areas. Just for them to set aside that room, to hold off counseling, maybe counsel in a different room for the time, for a few hours, that person can come sit in that room. Next, we're going to encourage and I'm going to facilitate training for people. There's a very easy 2-hour suicide prevention resource that we're going to offer to people. Quick little class, a little bit of teaching on mandatory reporting, and then just a few short training videos from myself to help people with knowing how to be a better friend to someone in that situation. The local community leader will reach out to a group of people within their church or their community, their environment, whatever the hub is that we've established. And one of those people will volunteer, who's gone through this training, to just come and sit with that person for a few hours. If they don't have the time, maybe they could even sit for a few hours. If the person's there for 4 hours, they can sit for 2 and then have someone else take over for 2. It's just a friendly face to offer encouragement, support, coping, needs, anything. Just get them a snack, a drink of water, just sit down with them, whatever the case may be. And so they can process. When they feel like they're coming down, when they're no longer in a crisis, my hope would be that the local overseer, who would be a therapist, a counselor, or a pastor who's just offering their time, will come have a quick conversation with that person. Not a long series of counseling or anything like that, just a checkup on them to make sure that they're okay. And then to encourage them to seek local counseling or therapy, whether that be through their local church or through paid professional therapy, whatever the case may be, so the person can be helped long term. Now, obviously, those facilities for mandatory 72-hour holds are necessary, and there is good that is done from those. This is just a stopgap to try and keep most people out of there. But if at any point in time the person feels like they are way too far gone outside their depth, they're a danger to themselves or others, if the person who is watching them feels like this person may be a danger to themselves or others and there's no way to leave dangerous items away or something like that, then of course we will go through the normal process of having the police do a health check on them, of transferring them to their local emergency room, and then the system will take over from there and get them put on a mandatory 72-hour hold, which unfortunately is a necessary thing in our society. So the Soul Ward will create a stopgap between that facility and the street, and hopefully keep a lot of people out of it. We can reduce the amount of intake that's going through those places. We can save people money because there are bills when you come out of that place as well. And so my call to action for you is to consider signing up for training to be one of these people, to talk to your local church or institution, to reach out to me to help set up a Soul Ward in your local area. It's not going to be relying upon just one church or one nonprofit organization. We need a network of people to support their local community. I will help with the training. I will provide the videos. We just need someone to provide various spaces and times and volunteers. Consider taking the training course. It's very quick, very easy. And if that is just beyond you, if you think you cannot do that, it's okay. There are people out there who will. And I hope some of you watching this feel impassioned and emboldened to do this. You can contact me on the contact page or email bryce@soulward.org to see how to get involved in this initiative. But if you're out there and you feel like maybe that's a little too far, then consider supporting us financially. We're working on getting our 501c3 status, so your donations will be tax refundable for businesses out there. But in the meantime, if you just see the necessity on such an issue like this, consider just clicking on our PayPal and support us and donating some money to the cause. What this does is this frees me up to continue to build and manage these Soul Wards across hopefully the whole country, even overseas. I'd like to eventually get this going out in Europe once we have some proof of concepts here. And that'll also give us a little bit of budget to better support the rooms with plants and lighting and posters and whatever it takes to create those open environments and provide snacks or whatever kind of support we need for the people who are a ward of the Soul Ward. My name is Bryce Newberger. This is the Soul Ward. I hope you can see the necessity of such an initiative, and I hope you'll get involved. I will do most of the heavy lifting if you can just dedicate some money or some time, or even just talk to your local community leaders to have them reach out to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. God bless you.